This is the ready-made RC, FPV Recruit version 2. It's basically a wing trainer for me. I need some training. I've got some wings that are a little expensive that maybe I should learn with this before I fly. Got a wingspan of 35.4 inches, 19 inches long. It's pretty tough EPP foam. Has a 2300 kV motor, 30 amp ESC. Comes with 2 digital servos. Uses a 3-bladed 5x5 prop. Runs on about a 2200 milliamp hour 3S battery. Has a front camera bay. Has about 3 interchangeable mounting systems for different versions of cameras. Has a secondary bay for an FPV camera. It's gyro stabilized. You can fly in just standard mode, no stabilization, or you can fly in what I think they call 3D mode. I haven't really opened it up and looked at it yet, which is you can still do rolls and loops and stuff with it, but it will self-right with the gyros. And then there's a takeoff / stabilized mode. Again, we'll look at it deeper. That keeps the bank and other angles to like 25-45 degrees. You can't make steep turns. You can't make large climbing or any dives or anything like that. Well, I bet you probably can do more than it'll scare you, but it just kind of calms the platform down, takes a lot of the fight out of it to give you an easier time flying it. Let's see what we got here. Oops. That's not the way the box opens. So there's a... By the way, this goes together really, really, really simple. Got some winglets. Got either flavor, foam or plywood. Screw on 2 screws. Basically, the 2 wing halves go together and you put in some thumb screws, you're finished. There's really nothing to this. The electronics is all mounted in it already, including the servos and the wings, etc. This model with motor prop, as you'll see it here, is $79. RC receiver and a battery in it. You're finished with it, and then you have to have a RC transmitter, of course, and you're in the air. You can get some transmitters for $50. You can get some receivers for $25. Battery, you might get one for $10-15, and you're flying. And you have a little help in case you get in trouble. Decals. I don't really ever. I haven't done decals in 67 years of living. I just never liked them. One of 2 front covers, depending on what camera setup you use. This would be your high definition camera in the nose that's just taking video for use later at high definition. Okay, They seal these, do they? Okay. So it looks like this is the center section. Got the motor in the back. Forget what it said. It's like a 2300 kV. Yep, 2300 kV. 2206 size. Got a metal motor mount that likely came with the motor, and it's mounted into some plywood. Model looks good from the outside, but you know, EPP foam. Maybe this comes off first. Yeah, magnets let loose. This is, looks like the one they call the Mobius. Goes this way, and the Mobius is on the bottom. So there's 3 different front ends. I don't want to break it, but I tell you the truth, I don't yet see how it opens. Or maybe I'm just not pulling hard enough against magnets, but I think I'll maybe read some instructions. For right now, we won't really look at the electronics. We'll just unbox it. Little carbon fiber skid plate for the bottom. It's cool. Got a 6-bladed prop. No, actually that's 2 3-bladed props. I'm glad they give me a spare. I didn't buy any, but we'll see. Those feel kind of, it's rigid. Must be, it's some thicker material than I'm used to for props. Okay, I'm just guessing based on that airfoil. I would say this is the right winglet. Not really a winglet, or right wing. Servo, control horn, everything already put in. Bet it's centered and all that. Here's the little area for a FPV camera. Like I say, this really goes together. Just pushes together, and then some screws. It's 5-minute assembly. This, of course, is the other wing. And again, if I look at the airfoil, that's upside down to me. That's right side up. And so that's the left. Plywood where the actual winglets go on the end. Interesting. Little hole there, but then this is screwed in. Now there's another piece of plywood in there. Well, I bet that's affixed too. Pretty good. Got a CG, about a little less than the size of a dime here, raised CG place, and has the letters CG, center of gravity, next to it. One of the most important things for any flying. CG's not right, you're in trouble, big trouble. These are the winglets. It comes with both foam with a little plywood type and straight plywood type. You choose. These are probably more durable after landings. These might look better. We'll see. I don't know what I'll do. Might put the foam ones on, seeing they're probably less durable. And once I booger them up, then I'll put on the plywood ones. That's interesting. There is a wing spar, and on first looking at the wing, the only place to put the spar in looks to be about the same place that the servo wire comes out. How about that? I would have thought the servo wire would come out the secondary hole, but that's just me. Aileron left. And then here's some plywood parts. Looks like a battery strap. I guess it's time to look at the instructions, isn't it? And that seems to be it. So where was that instruction sheet? I always hate these first times. Just pull hard enough on this and the magnets let loose. When you've never opened it, you don't know. Instruction sheet isn't very informative on that either. I just had to go for it. So here's the little controller board, and it's not a flight controller, it's just some gyros, and does the stabilities I kind of talked about. Little battery bay here and battery strap. Looks like the spar goes through. I don't know if it goes through the back hole. I assume it goes through the plywood hole there, but we'll see here in a second. And the 30 amp ESC's already hooked to the gyro board, ready to plug into your battery. It's hooked to the motor. Everything's ready to go there. Set that aside a little bit. You do have to put your RC receiver into these inputs over here and hook the two ailerons up to these two inputs on this side. There's only 3 inputs total. You do use a 5-channel, I believe, because you do need a mode switch on this side, so we'll look at that later. So there's that. So basically, yeah, that goes through there, that's for sure. Comes out the other side. There we go. Of course, you have to, I think, run your control wires in this bigger hole for the left aileron. There it is. Ouch. Now we can pull her on through. Take up a little more slack again. And You know, I think I missed. Because my wing right here is way in front of my center section, this spar actually goes through well, it obviously goes through that hole, but it must go through the larger hole right here in the back rather than the one that's the same size. Now that's just strange, because now there's not any, it's just loose there. It's just, unless this goes in this front hole here, but that front hole's not big enough. Stick it back in here real quick and look. Well, look at that. That lines up. That thing goes in that back hole. Look at that. So much play there. And then this hole with less play. Let me look at that again. You know, I bet this actually goes in that hole. There we go. Yeah, that makes more sense. You'd think I'd look at some instructions, wouldn't you? Now with it in that hole, those things should line up. Put my left aileron control cable through that larger back hole. Grab it up here. Come on. Take up the slack. Pull the wing towards. Take up the slack. There we go. Boy. Probably if I'd look at the instructions. So this will plug to I can't read that, but I think with signal light up, left aileron plugs into the next one. There you go. Let me get a magnifying glass. And I'll read that. I think. Yep. Throttle's the first one. It's already hooked up. When you get it, next output down on the right is left aileron. The last third one down is right aileron. Gently pull the wire out. This one looks a little bit more like it could be the size for the spar. The other one was just a little blocked up with some straight material and fooled me. There we go. Yeah, back this out a little. There we go. Shut that wire through that little bigger hole in the back. Grab it out. Slide the wing together. Oops. Take up a little more of the slack. That's it. Take the right aileron, put it on the third And last output. There, we're finished. Got a little connector here for picking up voltage for peripherals of some kind, cameras, whatever you happen to put in. I'll be putting in an FPV camera, of course. And we'll get to the inputs later. But that's it. I'm sure there's a little screw that is screwed in right there to hold the wing on. That's why that plywood piece had the hole in it. And the little metal back, what do you call those? Little threaded thing you put in from the back. And this way too. I like that arrow right there. This way, forward, forward. Yeah, of course. And that's it. Put your little RC receiver in there and a battery. You're finished. Put the prop on. Oh, and I just realized what those other plywood parts are. So if I had the two screws in there on each side to hold the wing on, and I had screwed on the rudderlets on the end of the wing, this thing's basically finished as far as a build. That's it. Now I realize that this is the, I think there's 2 or 3 different mounts, plywood mounts. They're like 4-sided when you pop all these pieces out and glue them together properly. Plywood mounts for different cameras that go down inside this little front compartment here, and you put the camera in, and then you choose whichever faceplate you're going to use and pop it on. You're finished. So as far as my build, the only thing I've got to finish is put the winglets on, put the FPV camera in, actually build the holder camera compartment for whatever camera I'm going to use, and put it in the front. Put the RC receiver in, put the propeller on. That's it. This model even has an auto takeoff mode. It's so small you can throw it sidearm like a frisbee, like this. Hold it right where I'm holding it, and just kind of sweep your arm forward, throw it like a frisbee. And with auto takeoff mode, it'll be in basically full throttle, and the little gyro board will be giving it up ailerons and keeping it level as it goes upward in altitude to your flight altitude. But we'll see more of that. Like I say, everything you see here's $79 with a $50 radio and a $25 RC. You still have about that equal amount, $75. It's getting right at $150 now. And then we're talking no FPV camera or FPV transmitter. I forgot. Yeah, I'll have to put the FPV transmitter on here too. No camera of any kind in the nose, just as a wing trainer, so to speak. $150. And you're in the air now. Battery again, about 10 of that. I'm going to use it for a wing trainer. So then I have the TBS wing over there. It's just a little bigger. Weighs about 2 or 3 times as much with nothing in it yet as far as any electronics or anything. It's going to be quite a heavy. The TBS wing is really, really heavy build. This one will be kind of light even with everything in it all up. So I don't know what else to say about that. Someplace here there is a couple of screws I imagine someplace in here. I don't see them yet. There should be a couple of screws to screw in each side here in the wing to keep the wings on, in case you want to take it apart for transportation. Ah, there they are. Oh, look, they're big old knurled. Huh. Let me pull that off of there. We'll just look at those real quick. They impressed me a little bit there. At my age, little screws and little nuts and stuff, which, you know, I'm having to deal with constantly with drones and stuff, are frequently very small. But these, that's cool. Look at that. I can get my finger on that. Look, that's exciting. See, can't hit the hole. Wow, it's just. As we say here in the South, oops, I guess you want to see that. As we say here in the South, that's just neater than snuff. And let's see, there's two more. In this bag, there's 4 magnets for some reason, and 4 screws for the winglets on the end of the wing right out here. So there's 4 more screws to be put into this thing, and it's completely assembled. So if you wanted to take these out when you're taking it from your house to the field, you can. Just don't need to torque them down either. Finger tight's cool. That's it. Completely finished. Well, yeah, see now I have to glue the carbon fiber on the bottom, and that's also another place this can be launched from. It can be launched like this. It's only a 5-inch prop in the backs. I'm just launching rear engine can be dangerous, even though this is a small model and stuff, and the danger is very, very reduced, much reduced. I don't think it's a good habit to get into with any of them. There's a carbon fiber spar down the aileron. That's cool. There's a carbon fiber spar down the leading edge of the wing on both sides. That's cool. Oops. We'll check its durability there. So, right now, I don't know a whole lot more to say about this one. See, I got a little build to do, but let's see. I'll use my Run Cam Orange in the front. Whichever one of these is for a GoPro Hero type or Run Cam Orange. That's the one I'll put together first for the camera, and I'm going to use Run Cam Swift 2 in the FPV bay. There's the little Run Cam 2 Swift. It's going to be right there for the FPV camera. 2.5 lens. I think that's going to work really, really well. Well, that's the unboxing. We'll get to the first building video.